Please, please. Leave me alone. Documentary filmmaking, portraying life in as real a lens as possible.
Utopia Orthodontics. Your smile will
Hey everyone, it's Wowman, and in today's video we are going to be taking yet again another dive into some more disturbing YouTube channels. And the channels that are going to be featured in this video are extremely obscure, so I am betting that a lot of these channels you haven't seen them before. However, that doesn't mean that they aren't incredibly disturbing, because they really are. One channel in particular that really freaked me out is this first one that we're going to be diving into, which features an entity that makes you feel like you're losing your mind.
Please leave. Please leave. Leave me alone.
But before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as well as liking the video and commenting bruh as usual, because all these things do help me out a lot. So if you could do them, that'd be super cool and I would really appreciate it. But real quick, I did want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that sends you a box of awesome. Inside you'll find top shelf goods from under the radar brands. It's free to join and you can skip a month or cancel anytime. 90% of the products come from small brands, many of which are based right here in the US, like the TerraBox, which has a knife made from the bare bones based in Salt Lake City. Every month, Bespoke Post introduces their members to cool new products like outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothes, and even live oysters. And this is all based on a preference quiz that you fill out. Every box of awesome has around $70 worth of goods inside, but costs you only a fraction of the value. You can also get a preview of your box before it's even shipped, and you can decide if you want to keep it, swap the box, or just skip the month entirely for no charge, so you only pay for what you want. You have the Shucked box, which comes with 25 or 50 oysters, Red Clay's original hot sauce, and a Decalon oyster shucking knife. The Weekender box, which comes with a line of trade Weekender bag, great for a quick trip. Bespoke was also nice enough to send me the Switchback and Explore box, which comes with a Morinov stainless steel knife, a Ren trifold shovel, a M-powered solar-powered lantern, and a fire strike. I really like the lightweight Nomad backpack that comes in the Explore box, and I definitely plan on filling this backpack with the other stuff and taking it out on a camping trip. To get 20% off your first box of awesome, click the link in the description and enter Wowman20 at checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/Wowman20. Okay, so for this first channel that I wanted to show you guys, it's called ReachAnimations. The channel has produced a ton of these FNAF VHS tapes that are incredibly creepy, including this one called Anomaly Report 1.5, where an animatronic notices one of the security cameras. As well as this video called Fear, where the same animatronic slowly approaches you. The rest of the channel features other creepy animatronics like Foxy and the rest of the FNAF gang. However, the video that really struck out to me and made me want to include this channel in this video is one called Psychosis. Because for 2 years the channel was pretty much dedicated to these FNAF VHS horror videos, but this video called Psychosis seems to be a pivot into an entirely new series, one that I am incredibly excited for. And not to mention that it's incredibly disturbing as well. Also, before we begin, I also want to display the TW as well, which includes things like disturbing imagery, loud sounds, flashing lights, blood, and soup. So viewer discretion is advised, but if you don't want to watch this one, feel free to skip to this timestamp here. In the video, it starts off with the SCP logo, which is a fictional organization that, quote, "The Foundation maintains an extensive database of information regarding anomalies requiring special containment procedures, commonly referred to as SCPs. The primary database contains summaries of such anomalies and emergency procedures for maintaining or re-establishing safe containment in the case of containment breach or other event." And this organization's motto is secure, contain, and protect. This organization also extends beyond this video as well, because the SCP is super extensive and does have a lot of lore, but in essence it refers to anomalies and anything unnatural or supernatural that doesn't exist in the real world, but does anyway. And this video is about one of those anomalies. The video tells you to maintain direct eye contact with the circle on your left, saying failure to maintain eye contact may result in dizziness, nausea, and hallucinations. And I'm guessing that this is being done to validate your credentials. The following footage was retrieved from a small cottage located on the east side of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Officials have identified the possessor of the footage as Franklin Bailey, a 26-year-old white male. Upon reviewing the footage as well as other recordings retrieved from his residence, it was determined that he was a detectorist. And for those of you wondering what a detectorist is, I definitely did not know what it was, but it's someone who uses a metal detector to look for items that would be otherwise hidden, which is honestly a pretty cool hobby. It appears that this particular activity is what brought Franklin to come into contact with the first documented instance of SCP-513. This was his experience October 17th, 1991. And Franklin Bailey, the detectorist, is shown in the middle of the night using his device to find treasures that might be in his vicinity. Now, I've never used a metal detector myself, but I feel like it would be pretty counterintuitive to be metal detecting in the middle of the night, because wouldn't that just make it harder to find things? But regardless, Franklin continues and seems to be onto something.
What do we have here? Damn, just a nail.
But all it is a rusty nail. And so, unsatisfied with his find, he follows the machine's signals in hopes of finding something greater. Though his frustration slowly begins to show, as the next thing he finds is again junk.
Damn it.
But his persistence eventually brings him success, as he finds something rather interesting this time around.
A rusty cowbell? How did this get out here? Damn, this thing sounds awful.
But upon playing with it, something in the woods changes. The noises previously accompanied by the insects and wind just goes completely silent.
Damn, this thing sounds awful. Huh? What? It just got really quiet.
Because can you imagine being in the woods and suddenly after ringing this cowbell, everything goes quiet? It's just very unsettling and something completely unnatural that shouldn't be happening. Regardless, Franklin cuts his losses and decides to go home, but the silence persists. Franklin then returns home, completely unaware of the dangers that were currently being manifested. And upon attempting to go to sleep, he begins to realize that he is incapable of doing so. And this is the first sign that the SCP-513 has taken effect.
So I can't sleep, clearly. I need a cup of water. Or coffee. He's over there! Who the he's there!
So Franklin, in a panic, tries to contact the authorities, but there is no answer. And in complete denial, he begins to try to convince himself that all this is him being sleep deprived, and he has begun to see things.
This isn't real. This isn't real. I'm just seeing shit. I'm just seeing shit. I'm freaking out over nothing.
But further into the night, it's very clear that this is not the case, and he begins begging for the thing to leave his home.
Just leave me alone. Please. Leave me alone.
But of course, the entity ignores his request. And what proceeds is honestly one of the most intense scenes that I've seen from an analog horror video, at least in a while, and you'll see why in a sec.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Because after the entity enters Franklin's home, it seemingly vanishes and was apparently a hallucination. But Franklin figures that the entity is screwing with his mind, and so he grabs a weapon and is dead set on putting an end to whatever this thing is.
You motherfucker! Shit! I'll do it! I'll you right here! Right now! You think this is a joke? You come here and...
However, this hell-like nightmare is too much for a human being to bear, and either through the entity's influence or just out of pure fear of what it could do to him if he were alive any longer, Franklin decides to no longer continue.
Is this what you want? Is this what you want?
At 5:42 a.m., local containment units arrived at the scene. Franklin was found dead in his bedroom. Upon further investigation, it was ruled that his death was an act of suicide, a common product of being exposed to the SCP-513. The SCP-513 is now contained within sight and will continue being tested due to its anomalous properties. This video seriously did freak me out a lot. I mean, just the sheer tone of fear that Franklin has in his voice while this is all going down. Just the voice acting from him really takes this analog horror to another level.
Is this what you want?
Also, it does seem like the bell that Franklin ended up finding in the woods is what's summoned this creature to follow him home. Given by the complete silence that ensues right after he rings it, we can pretty much assume that this is what caused that thing to follow him. But yeah, this video was incredibly well done. I absolutely loved it. This channel is also super underrated, so be sure to check them out as well. So this next channel is called Spencer Lackey, which ended up creating a series called ASL. This channel is also super underrated, only having around 10,000 subscribers at the time of this upload, so hopefully that'll change. And I do really love seeing a lot of niche analog horror videos like this. I mean, don't get me wrong, the big analog horror series are amazing to watch, but it is nice seeing smaller channels experience with the genre. Also for this series, we are going to be just diving straight into ASL Volume 1, which is just all of the other episodes combined into one video, which is always nice when horror series do this. The tape begins stating, "The following are a collection of computer logs found on Victor Torrance's hard drive, paired with corresponding video footage from his camcorder. Everything has been edited together in an effort to aid the ongoing investigation. Tuesday, November 25th, 1997. At 9:02 a.m., the first odd thing I noticed was that my brother's store was still closed. Normally he gets up before me, so at first I paid it no mind. I showered, brushed my teeth, and went downstairs. My mom left me a thermos full of coffee like she always does, but she was gone. I don't know where any of them are. To which the tape then switches to a chat room between two people. Victor in blue with the username B8ZBubba, and I'm assuming a romantic interest named Sumacito. However, the two have never met in person before. Victor asking when will I get to meet you, to which she says soon. Victor even saying I love you, but we don't get to see Sumacito's reply. At 12:06, still no one home. I asked my neighbor if she knew where they went, but she had no clue. I'm wondering if I should call the police. And it's then we get a look into the basement and hear the noises that are coming from within it. I can't sleep. Still don't know where they are. Tomorrow I'll call the police. What we're shown next is a self-introduction tape from Victor, explaining what his interests are and specifically why he's found a love in filmmaking, but then things start to get a little bit strange when he says this.
Of the arts for filmmaking. I'm really into documentary filmmaking, portraying life in as real a lens as possible, because I believe that's the truest way to make you feel something. Like intrigue or love.
Another thing to note is that this was filmed way back in February, so months before his family would go missing. However, going back into real time, which is November, Victor says that his brother's door is still shut. My parents' room is still empty, but creepy enough, there is a coffee made for him, something only his mother would do. Victor's messages with Sumacito proceed as, "Can you mail me another picture?" She responds, "Haha, of course. I can't stop thinking about you. Never stop thinking about me." Time begins to pass and Victor's family still isn't back, so to pass the time he begins looking through some old footage and takes a closer look at his introduction tape.
Hi, my name is Victor Torrance. I'm a 17-year-old filmmaker from New Jersey, currently aiming to study at Tisch School of the Arts for filmmaking. I'm really into documentary filmmaking, portraying life in as real a lens as possible, because I believe that's the truest way to make you feel something. Like intrigue or love.
It's also pretty interesting to think about how Victor has held off on calling the police for so long now. So what I think is happening is that he may be in denial, perhaps prolonging the call, because if he ends up making it, it will make the entire situation feel that more real. Victor records another video in regards to his missing family. However, his train of thought is fleeting and he begins describing a nightmare he had. Victor describes a door with light seeping through the crack, and that there is something waiting for him behind it.
Waiting for me behind that door. And I was so overcome with fear and
And so he messages Sumacito if she can come over. She says everything is okay, I promise. I'm really scared right now, I feel like I'm losing my mind. She asks him if he wants her to come over, and Victor says please, she'll be there in a few hours. I keep hearing noises throughout the house, footsteps, pots clanging, people whispering, sometimes I hear screaming. I've stayed holed up in my room in a desperate attempt to reduce my anxiety. I went rummaging through footage from an old Betamax I got for Christmas a few years ago. I don't remember filming that last tape, nor do I remember the tape I found beside it. What precedes is a news report regarding the missing family. There were 3 bodies found in the basement of the Torrance family home, including Elaine, Daniel, and their son, Brian. But the youngest son, Victor, is in custody, and as of right now, is the main suspect. It's also said that the police received an anonymous call that alerted them of the ongoings at the home, and this was most likely a result of the scream that happened once Victor went into the basement, which most likely caused suspicion, and a nearby neighbor probably called the police right after hearing that. From a police report made when they were dispatched to the scene, the officer David Rivers states that they found Victor huddled over the bodies of the 3 victims. However, the state in which they were found was incredibly gruesome. His brother Brian, mother, and his father were all found with puncture wounds being the cause of death. All the while, Victor was motioning to an empty corner of the basement, saying that she did this. She lied to me. And along with the evidence that was found at the scene, there was also a tape found called Sumacito, in which this plays. The last thing that plays is Victor being called by Sumacito from inside the basement right before he would uncover the bodies of his entire family.
Down here. Victor, I'm down here.
The video ends there, and we're left with the discovery that the person Sumacito that Victor was chatting with the entire time was deceiving him, doing this as a way to make her way inside of his home and take the life of his entire family. And what I found pretty interesting is that the name Sumacito actually means sorry when translated from Japanese. Another bleak detail to mention as well is that Victor was probably only around 16 or 17 because he was the younger brother of his older brother who was 18 at the time of his demise, which makes the entire thing that much darker. I mean, this was really just a kid who was chatting with a girl online, completely unaware of the events that would transpire as a result of his conversations, because in reality it was some entity who took his entire family from him and made it so the authorities thought Victor was the cause of his entire family being unalived. A very creepy analog horror series, so be sure to check out the channel so we get some more installments of this. Alright, so this last channel that we're going to be talking about is called Pontiac Robotics Archive, which might be the most obscure channel that we've covered on this channel. It only has about 700 subscribers, but the videos on this channel are definitely some to keep you up at night, as they all feature this mannequin converted into an animatronic, and this animatronic mannequin hybrid is called Nick. The channel follows Nick in all sorts of strange situations, including one where Nick is at the dentist for a cleaning.
Time for cleanup.
But what's really strange in the video is that the dentist is using what looks like a screwdriver to clean out Nick's mouth. And then in a following video, it looks like Nick is getting kidnapped. Which does look a little bit comedic at first, but things quickly return to the dark tone once Nick is in the home of her kidnapper, as Nick's mouth is taped shut as its kidnapper calls Nick evil, and to teach Nick a lesson, he ends up breaking her leg.
That will teach you. That should teach you big.
In a following video, Nick's hair is completely shaved off, and they're placed in the middle of a yard, Nick begging for help. And as these videos progress, the mistreatment of Nick is a common theme. We can see Nick's face getting bashed in, but then replaced with a mask to compensate. In another video, the kidnapper lights the top of Nick's head on fire, and there is smoke coming out of it, followed by an explosion. And in that video, we also get to learn the kidnapper's name, which is Sylvester.
This is your fault, Sylvester.
And in one of the more recent videos called Utopia Orthodontics, we are shown a commercial for the brand, in which it looks like Nick is featured in.
Utopia Orthodontics. Your smile will show.
And this is just speculation from me, but it does seem like Nick was originally a practice dummy for dental students to practice on. At least this is the impression that this video gave me. And then finally, in the last video on the channel, we can see that Sylvester is waving a bag of teeth in Nick's face and begins placing them on her. These videos, in all honesty, are pretty disturbing, but it's hard to follow what exactly is going on here. Because all we really know is that Nick was originally a dental dummy who was eventually kidnapped by Sylvester and is now being tortured in a variety of different means. However, for what purpose, we don't know. But yeah, that pretty much says it. Please let me know which one of these channels freaked you out the most. I'd love to know. Huge thank you to my channel members, as well as my ultimate tiers, Dreadator, Alejandro from the Tower, K-Pop Lover X3, and 1998. And if you do want early access to videos, as well as your name right here, it's only $1.99. But yeah, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Your time is super valuable, so I do really appreciate you spending it with me. And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye. Love you.